Aloha. I'll be doing my final project on the life and success of Raymond Carlos Nakai. In the beginning, so he was born on April 16th, 1946, in Flagstaff, Arizona. He was of Native American of Navajo Ute heritage. As a kid, he spent summers in the cornfields near the New Mexico border, spent time on the Colorado Indian Reservation with an uncle in Paulston, also shipped off to the Ute side of the family. At the age of 10, learned how to play the trumpet. He lived with his grandmother who taught him about his heritage. His mother and father had a Native American radio program on KCLS for 6 years when he was a boy. He'd go with his parents to the radio station, radio taping, and remember listening to all sorts of Native music. One piece by William Horncloud, which included the sounds of the Native American flute, influenced Nakai to pursue in music. He was in public school and he was always drawn to music. In grade school, he participated in the band. He always dreamed of becoming a classical trumpeter and attended Northern University, studying brass instruments and playing in the NAU marching band. However, in his sophomore year, he joined the Navy. While in the Navy, he auditioned for the Armed Forces School of Music and passed a high competition with being the 28th on the waiting list. So after everything, as a Navy veteran, he earned a master's degree in American Indian Studies from the sorry, University of Arizona. In 1992, awarded the Arizona Governor's Art Award. Also, and in 1994, he was awarded honorary doctorate from Northern Arizona University. But of course, before success, there was always a tragedy. So he went to war in Vietnam, and returning from Vietnam, it wasn't what he expected. Many people looked down on him and treated him very bad. When he tells of a story that when he was returning, he was not stoned, but stoned with raw spoiled vegetables and fruits and eggs. He still has that suit that he was walking home with that was egged and stink and everything. He still has it to this day. Um, Nakai, he hit an all-time low during that time, turning to drugs and alcohol to overcome his depressing times. And Nakai's involvement with the band in school became impossible due to an auto accident. This accident mangled his jaw, shattering his dreams for a career as a concert trumpeter. Until in 1974, Nakai met a man in Santa Fe carrying around flutes to sell. Nakai thought it was a scam that he this guy was Nakai thought it was a scam that this guy was selling these flutes because he's never seen these kind of flutes around. Um, so he went and inquired in La Jolla about these flutes, and when he heard the instrument, well, he realized that he's heard the instrument been played before while with his parents at the radio station. Um, so Nakai researched the instrument's indigenous roots and slowly learned how to master it, as seen in this following clip. Alright, as seen in the video, it's hard to imagine that he ever got into that accident because how beautiful it was played, that he played that instrument. Of course, as you see, that his weapon of choice is the Native American flute. The Native American flute has been reported to be the instrument, third known oldest musical instrument in the world. Drums were discovered first, with various rattles second made. The first flutes were made out of bone. Over time, the flute evolved with different materials used in its creation, depending on what materials were available. All types of hardwoods and softwoods were used for flutes at some point of time. Flutes had many different configurations. As you can see, is the one he's holding has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, well, 6 to 7 holes, and they can have up to 8 holes. In the southern U.S., the river reed was used to make the flutes. Native flutes and whistles were used for many reasons, usually varying by tribe. Northwest Coast tribes used it for different dances and spirit calling ceremonies, used for entertainment while traveling, and many of these songs still exist today. The Hopi tribe had flute societies that performed powerful prayer ceremonies. Lakota tribes used the flute for courting and love songs. The flute was not allowed by the government in most parts of the U.S. for a period of time. Elders on rural reservations kept the tradition alive and helped reintroduce to native societies. There are many stories as to the true origin of the native flute. There's one story told by a Lakota elder, Mr. Philip Brownbear, is known as the legend of the first flute, and it reads, a very long time ago, a young man who was very interested in a beautiful young girl. He was always trying to get her attention, but she never seemed to notice him. Whenever she was present, he would ride his horse proudly, but nothing he did seemed to attract her. One day, when the girls were down by the river getting water, the young man went down to the river and began diving off rocks and swimming across the river, to show how skilled he was. But again she paid him no mind. Dejected, the young man walked into the nearby old nearby old-growth forest and sat down by the base of a long dead cedar tree. As he sat there thinking about this girl, a woodpecker landed on a hollowed limb that was over his head. The limb had been hollowed over time from the wind and weather. The woodpecker began to peck holes, tap, 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 along the length of this hollowed limb. Tap, tap, tap. As the woodpecker pecked, the limb broke off and fell next to the young man. As the wind blew over this hollow limb with the holes in it, he heard musical voices coming from it. He picked it up and found that when he blew into this limb, he covered the holes. He could make beautiful, mournful music to match the feelings in his heart. He sat there for a time, making up haunting melodies. The young girl heard this music coming from the old growth forest, and it was such a soulful sound that it captured her heart. She followed the sound of the music into the woods, and where she saw him sitting there at the base of the cedar tree playing this first flute that was given to him by the woodpecker. As she listened, she fell in love with the music and fell in love with him. They went off hand in hand to live happily ever after. One of the more popular uses for the native flute was for courting to attract a mate. The legend also says that once you got a mate, you were to put the flute away and never play it in public again, because if you played it again, you might attract someone else, which probably wouldn't be the best thing to do. Alright, so Nakai's career and achievements. In 1930 and 1983 he recorded Changes, which is his first ever recording, and sold the tapes independently. Soon after, he secured a recording contract with Phoenix-based Canyon Records Production. He developed a system of tablature notation, commonly known as Nakai tablature, published in the Art of the Native American Flute. In 1989, recorded Canyon Trilogy and earned a gold record for selling over 500,000 copies. In 1992, earned a master's degree in American Indian Studies from the University of Arizona, was also awarded with the Arizona Governor's Arts Award as mentioned earlier. Um, in 1994, Nakai's Ancestral Voices, a collaboration with guitar maker William Eaton and powwow greats the Black Lodge Singers, was the finalist for a Grammy in the Best Traditional Folk Album category. He also earned an honorary doctorate form from the Northern University, Arizona University. In 1998, he took top honors in both the Best Male Artist and Best Flutist categories of the first Native American Music Awards. In 1999, received two Grammy nominations for Inner Voices and Inside Mountain Valley, for both for 2000 Best New Age Album, and A Distant Place, Best New Album. Fourth World, 2002, Best New Age Album. Sanctuary, 2003, Best Native American Album. People of Peace, 2004, New Age Album. In 2005, Nakai was inducted into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. In 2008, for Best Native American Album was Reconnections. Dancing into Silence, 2010, Best New Age Album. He authored a book with composer James DeMars called The Art of the Native American Flute in 1999, and so he did two films, sort of. In 1999, he appeared in Songkeepers, which is a film with five distinguished traditional flute players that talk about their instrument, their songs, should be songs, not sayings, and the role of the flute and its music in their tribes. In 2005, he performed Water Bearer, Ancient Voices, Ritual One, and Spiral Journey in the movie The New World. As we see that Carlos Nakai had many, many accomplishments, starting all the way back in 1983, and still today plays the flute with his heart and puts in his heart, mind, and spirit into his playing. Listening to his music, we can learn through perseverance and not giving up that we can achieve anything that we want and can through this great example of Carlos Raymond Carlos Nakai.